Live from our newsroom, it's the Hard Times Podcast. With Bill Conway and Matt Sankum.
That's close enough.
Nailed it. Okay, cowards, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Whoa, is that really the start? Hell yeah.
We had
the clap in.
The clap is just how we sync it up, so we should leave it in just to see how far off the sync is, just for the listeners to be like, wow, that was bad. That was real bad.
I hope it's like old analog tape where one of them is gonna like drift the longer it goes on.
So you guys decided for this podcast appearance to give each other COVID, it appears.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have any choice. This is how we record the podcast every week. So with our like COVID rules in the house, we have it like it's only romantic partners and Nick.
And
That's
so,
the rule.
well, at the beginning of the quarantine, we just like pushed all our chips in and kissed each other. Like day one.
Yeah. We usually record the podcast in my bed.
Underneath the covers with little flashlights.
Yeah, we build a fort and then we cough directly in each other's mouths.
Yeah, I would actually say that was when the podcast got good.
Yeah, we did a chicken pox party.
Yeah,
did you guys ever do that as kids? Like, did you ever? I mean, I remember having the chicken pox, but nobody was invited over to like get infected by me. I was just a lonesome chicken pox kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
do they have they have a vaccine now, right? I don't remember ever having chicken.
I'm not fucking taking it.
hell yeah, man! I'm with you, dude.
I'm an anti-vaxxer, but I'm gonna take only the COVID vaccine because the president said it was good.
There's a lot of confusing stuff about when you get so far to the right where you think like Trump is killing the demons and COVID is fake, but also COVID is also like a bioweapon. So COVID is fake, but it's also incredibly dangerous and we have to prepare and start stockpiling food.
Yeah, the like QAnon attitude towards like predators and like that shit is so weird. Like I saw a news article yesterday where it was like prosecution of child sex trafficking has gone down 75% with Trump in office. And I'm like, well, I'm a single issue voter, so you just lost me.
Well, QAnon is weird because QAnon's whole thing, like they start in a great place where they're like, we don't trust the government and we're worried about pedophiles. I'm like, great. I think we agree. And then you listen to them a little long and you're like, I don't know.
They're like, and also Donald Trump is the second coming of Christ and he's going to fight them with a sword.
And you're like, we're so...
Yeah, QAnon starts in a great place, and then 1 year in, 2 years in, you're a moderator on the forums. All of a sudden, you really lose it,
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
We're gonna irony ourselves again into like evil.
Did you guys see that? There is this like QAnon / pedophile hunter subreddit. And
Nice.
One of the moderators had to step down because they were a pedophile.
Oh.
They had to post this public.
He's like Blade.
Being like, I really do want to hunt pedophiles. I want to hunt myself. I hate myself. It was a very bizarre apology, but like, keep fighting the good fight and getting people like me. But this is like the inventor of the subreddit.
Yeah. He's the daywalker. He walks into like a big blood rave of pedophiles and he gets his sword out.
Yeah, his mom was bitten by a pedophile before she gave birth to him. You always see that twist coming, don't you? Those guys always wind up outing themselves as pedophiles.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what do you do with your free time? Well, mostly pedophile stuff.
Yeah.
Anti-pedophile stuff.
Because the thing
Mostly
about
anti-pedophile stuff.
The thing about those guys is like they always think they're somehow different from the other pedophiles, so they just out themselves.
Right.
They're like, well, yeah, I'm a pedophile, but I'm not like a pedophile.
Yeah, I'm being good.
They call them like non-acting or something like that.
Yeah.
I run antipedophile.com. It's a community for pedophiles who choose not to be pedophiles. It's an interesting world. My friend from the punk scene, Brace, started like TrueAnon, that podcast, and he was really big into hunting pedophiles.
It's a great podcast.
Just gonna throw that out there.
That's awesome. Oh shit.
There's a really funny video, and I haven't been able to find it, but I swear I saw it years ago, where it's about like a non-offending pedophile, like you were saying, where he's being interviewed and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm a pedophile, and that's why I live in this cabin next to a lake where there's no children like anywhere nearby. But the most hilarious thing is he has like hooks for hands, coincidentally.
The one thing you don't want a pedophile to have is two hooked hands.
That sounds like a character in like a weird Germanic story, like bad story you tell the children to scare them. There's a pedophile with hooks for hands by the lake. Yeah.
If you don't put your shoes up tonight, Franz, a pedophile.
Yeah. They had standard hooks, but like, who knows? Technology gets better. He could be full Inspector Gadgeting it by now.
Oh yeah, dude.
On your guys' podcast, Coward Hour, I think I had heard the idea that you guys were trying to start up or interested in a rival QAnon that was like a left-wing QAnon.
Yeah, we want to start a leftist QAnon, where like Nick was saying, the beginning of the premise we're on favor with.
Right.
We don't think that Trump has anything to do with it.
Yeah, well,
it's very weird that they're like, and Trump is going to save it.
So you guys are like, Nancy Pelosi is going to fight the demons?
No, we don't think anyone's going to fight the demons but us. Well, that's the thing.
Do you guys remember?
Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will just make deals with the demons and compromise.
AOC is going to fight them on Twitch.
Yeah.
I think
in order, we got to make some changes. So we need to first join the army of hell, and then we're going to, raise some issues internally that we think we could improve.
Well, I think the idea behind it was like that. You remember that Zizek Peterson debate, and Zizek was like, the whole reason why I did that is to show angry young men on the right that like the left doesn't like political correctness either, and that's the only part that he thinks they care about. So we're like, if we just do a left-wing QAnon, we're like, we still have all the fun stuff.
I've just noticed there's a sword on display in the background.
That's like the background for what we're gonna start streaming again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice. I realized like I've been dating my girlfriend for like a year, and I'm like, it's been long enough that I can get the sword back out.
That's good.
Wait, was that something like you just like take it out for like 10 minutes a day and just like have her walk by it and just like watch her, track her reaction just to see like what she would do and be like, can I have this as our living room decor now?
Well, I had it, I was single and celibate for a very long time, and I had it hanging on my wall. And then she was like finally going to come over, so I took it and I hid it under my bed. And I forget, something happened. I think she like dropped her phone or something, and she like got down on her knees to get it. She just like saw the sword.
Well, for a while there were two swords.
Yeah.
For a while there was a display sword, and there was a sword that I think was for more serious business.
Yeah, a business sword.
Early COVID, I had a full-blown manic episode, and I thought that I needed to get a sword in case like something happens. Because I'm like, well, I can't own a gun because statistically I'll use that on myself at some point. But it's very hard to kill yourself with a sword.
Yeah.
I bought an illegal gun off the internet. Should I go get it and show it on camera?
Yeah, let's see it, dude.
My wife is from Alaska, where there's a big gun culture, and she talks about like wanting to get a handgun, to like for protection. And I told her, I was like, I don't want a gun in the house. And she's like, why? I was like, I will fucking kill myself. And she's like, no, you won't. And I was like, nope, no, it will happen. Yeah. Like, so don't get a gun.
That's it. You're just like, try me.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a vegan straight edge guy. If I say something, it's gonna happen. Okay.
I also bought the most embarrassing panic COVID purchase I made was I bought like a lumber to board up windows. That's.
So do you have like a pallet of plywood just like in your backyard right now that they delivered with a crane?
People walk by your house, they're like, I think that's a Wells Fargo. I can't tell, but I suspect.
I tried to pretend it was like, oh, and also I'm going to do arts and crafts with it, but
you're going to do arts and crafts with lumber.
That's going to be one of those wood art guys, like that he takes pallets and he makes shit out of pallets.
I actually
visualizing like the like wood chip glued into a big plywood board. Is that what you got for the windows?
I got some plywood, but then I also got 2x4s to like reinforce it, so it's like it would be full covered, but then also barriered It's a good,
Right.
it's a pretty good system I got.
Do you have any
Honestly,
tools to make that happen, Matt? I've been to your place and I probably saw like one 3-in-1 screwdriver like stuffed in the very back of a junk drawer. But
I do have tools, and no, they're not mine. They're my father's, and he left them at my place. But
I thought Matt was just gonna try to like adhesive it to the door, just like get that like sticky tack.
Just lean it against it and be like, if no one tests it, we're good.
yeah, so probably my most embarrassing purchase was my lumber. I also
I'm glad other people made like panic purchases that didn't make any goddamn sense.
It's never good when you're on the computer ordering raw materials. It's like,
That's 100% correct.
When you say bought a gun online, did you like get it transferred or like was this a dark web thing?
I bought a 80% ghost gun, so it's like a polymer Glock pistol that is mostly built, but it says like drill a hole here, and here's this screw to drill it, and then you go bzzz, and then you have a gun.
Well, those are legal. You're supposed to go to the ATF. In California, those are legal if you get a serial number from the ATF, which don't.
I didn't know you could get like IKEA guns. Like that's what that is, right?
That's the whole point. Is like, because like you can't ban like types of guns because the definition is murky.
Right.
So they can only ban like with handguns. It's the frame. Is this what you want your podcast to be? With handguns, it's the frame, and with long guns, it's the receiver.
Now, how do you make a fertilizer bomb? I mean,
He's gonna laugh it off like he doesn't know.
Yeah. Look, if people aren't familiar with Coward Hour, we're like I think the QAnon thing. We're like the leftist, like naughty podcast.
Naughty podcast?
Yeah.
Great marketing there. We're a naughty podcast.
That does make it like sound like a sex podcast. There's very little sex that ever happens on mic or off.
Haven't you guys?
Let's go with rowdy.
Rowdy's better. Rowdy's better.
Haven't you guys, when I first started listening to the podcast, I think you guys were both single, although Nick continued to allude to the dozens and dozens of women that were rotating in and out of his bedroom.
Well, no, I was homeless, so the bedrooms were rotating.
Yeah, his bedroom was a thoroughfare on Hollywood Boulevard, and women would just walk by. And
but now you guys are both wifeyed up, right?
Yeah. Things have really. I mean, like Nick said at the beginning of this podcast, he was homeless, and I was in the midst of a complete break from reality.
You were taking trips into the forest to test your method.
Yeah. And then I got some medication,
right?
And I stopped going into the woods to test my body and will.
Can you tell me about that? Like, walk me through what led up to you being like, I'm going to the woods. Did you have to tell people, like, as you were leaving, like, I'm off to the woods?
I didn't tell anyone.
He told nobody.
I think I told like the group chat as I was about to lose cell service.
Were you going to were you in like the Angeles forest, like outside of Los Angeles, or were you? Was this elsewhere?
Up in the San Gabriels, I forget. But
you just saw trees and pulled over.
He was in Elysian Park in Los Angeles.
I'm behind like a gas station. No, I just I was having a psychotic break. I thought the world was imminently ending, which back then it wasn't quite.
Yeah.
So this was like pre-COVID, pre all that. And I was just like, I can see where this is going. So I should probably learn how to make a fire with no matches now. Right.
Now, if you think so, thinking back to that mental state, do you think if you were in that when COVID happened, it would have been exponentially worse for you?
Well, it got really bad, even like me properly medicated during COVID. Like I had a panic attack so bad, I just like went to the ER. And they get real mad when you do that.
I went to the ER once because I had really bad gas. It was really embarrassing.
Wow.
They were like, you just need to fart, bro.
That's awesome to have a doctor tell you that.
He wrote it down on a prescription pad, which was the most embarrassing part.
I went to the ER with a friend of mine. He was a BMX dude, and there's this ledge in San Francisco. It's called the Clipper Ledge. You can look it up on clip of him trying to jump over this like it's almost like 2 stories high. This clip was on Ridiculousness, that Rob Dyrdek show. And like he hit the ground and bounced like a human shouldn't bounce like a basketball, but that's what happened to him. He bounced off the ground. It was like the most brutal thing. Like destroyed his knee, his elbow was cut open. So we drove over to the emergency room, and when we're sitting there, like he's bleeding all over the place, and we're waiting. There was a guy that had like rollerblades in his hand, and he had a little bit of road rash on his elbow and his face. And he's like, I just fell rollerblading. And the nurse was like, get out of here. Like, you're fine. And I just thought that was great. Like, cause he was like, I need medical attention. Like, no, you fucking don't. Get the hell out of this place.
I could definitely see what was this guy like? Was he in shape? Cause like, I could see me bouncing like a basketball. There's a lot of like rubbery parts of me.
Yeah, he was made like at this time he was at his physical prime. He was like made out of granite. Like he was that
Wow.
like the guy that of my friend group that you didn't want to get because it would end very, very badly for you. And I felt more bad for the ground that he hit than than himself, because he probably did more damage to that concrete. But
That's sick. Just leave a crater like Goku.
But yeah, that was probably like the worst slam I've seen in person. And then somebody kickflipped it on a skateboard, and he felt really bad about himself. He's like, somebody fucking actually landed it on a skateboard and I couldn't do it on my bike. And I think it taunts him to this day as somebody in his mid-30s, and he's dreaming about going back, and he will die at this point.
Gee.
He should go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I support that.
Call up Rod Dyrdek.
You gotta follow your
You
dreams.
do it like Tosh.0 where he gets a redemption.
I feel like Ridiculousness is such a ripoff of Tosh.0. They probably have web redemptions on Ridiculousness.
I went to some tapings of Ridiculousness to make money while I was homeless, and because they will let anybody in the audience.
Okay, are you telling me that most of his audience is homeless people who need money?
Absolutely.
Most of any daytime or like any show with a live audience, people, they just like find people on the street and give them $40. I did it before when I first moved here.
Yeah, I tried to get tickets to Ridiculousness as a gag gift for my friend to go with and be like, hey, I got these great things. And then force him to sit through like 6 hours taping of Ridiculousness and have him like, that was the worst time of my life. But when I looked for tickets, I couldn't find them. They were all like sold out. But apparently I have to be homeless.
I actually got like what do they call it? Like Stockholm syndrome. For like by the end of like my 6th taping, I was like, I like Rob Dyrdek.
Wait, six tapings? Did you go back every day, or did they just block shoot these things? Like,
oh no, there were 3 tapings in a day. So like this was just after 2 days. I was like, yeah, Ridiculousness, my favorite show.
Chanel
Also,
West
like-
Coast is so funny.
The taping is so long. Like if you had gotten those tickets, you were more getting the tickets for like a warm-up comic from Flappers.
Exactly.
What I
You're
think
just
I
like
ended up
dancing up the aisles like Ellen and giving people candy to keep energy up.
What I think I ended up getting him was tickets to see Brendan Schaub in Portland, and that was the worst thing I could possibly think to get him. And he said it was as bad as you might expect a Brendan Schaub show to be. Yeah.
Is he still your friend?
No, we haven't talked.
That's the right
You should have
response.
gotten him like tickets for just an empty warehouse.
the only taping I've been to really is I went to go see BattleBots, and it was fucking sick, bro.
Oh,
Is that in San Francisco?
They brought it back, Nick. That's the answer. Because I watched it as a kid, and then I was a reporter, and I got an email. I get an email. It's like, oh, there's too many overdoses in San Francisco. Another email. The mayor is corrupt, blah, blah, blah. And then there's another email. It's like, we're redoing BattleBots. I was like, I'm there. tell my editor. Yeah. I got a big scoop, baby. I'm interviewing Tombstone. And so I went. When you're a journalist, sometimes you can ask for a +1, right? Which means you can bring like your partner or whatever.
Yeah, we don't. What a +1 is, Matt. No, nobody here understands the concept of that.
I asked for a +5, and I brought all my buddies from elementary school who used to watch BattleBots. Time of our goddamn lives.
Dude,
That's
I didn't know it came back. That was my shit in like, God, when was that on? I was little. I think I
It
was
was early
elementary.
2000s, right? Late 90s, early 2000s.
Was this like a Spike TV thing?
And then G4, Spike, and then maybe they reran it on
Yeah.
G4.
Nick will
Which
give you
that's
the whole,
another
like,
thing.
Then there's contract negotiations. It was on the Travel Channel.
That's another idea we're trying to push on Coward Hour is that we should be permitted to reboot Spike TV.
Oh yeah, we do huge things with it.
Mansers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd bring back that horny Stan Lee cartoon.
Oh, Stripperella.
Yeah.
So every episode of Stripperella when I was a boy.
You know, BattleBots it didn't actually 100% go away. What ended up happening is the techies just like bought it for private events. So you could go to like Microsoft parties and there would be BattleBots battles. So it like existed as a corporate event for a little while, but then
That's what we're trying to do with this podcast.
Yeah.
We want to stop releasing it. We go to Mark Zuckerberg's house and do it for him as like a bedtime story.
Looking at the BattleBots Wikipedia, and it was only on television for like a year and a half, August 23rd, 2000 to December 2002.
Well,
I
Bill,
feel like that.
that's because
What?
Robot Wars was a competing show. It was a very
Oh,
similar
of
premise.
course.
Oh fuck. Well, I also think but when you were young, I remember it felt like BattleBots was on for 10 years. I just think as time moved really differently when I was like 9 or whatever.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you have no concept of like seasons.
Mhm.
Right.
You also, when I was a kid, I didn't really ever think about. I knew what day wrestling was on, but I never like had a schedule of what was on. So you just like liked certain channels, and you just say, "I hope BattleBots is on next," and then
Yeah.
be like, "Oh fuck, it's an infomercial."
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
well,
that
it's
was-
Girls Gone Wild. Might as well start jerking it.
Comedy Central late night, just jerking off to fully censored boobs.
Yeah.
Well, that was what used to piss me off about the Secret Stash. Remember the Secret Stash on Comedy Central? Where they're like, we're going to show your favorite comedy movies uncensored. So I was like excited to see titties, but they can't, as uncensored as they make it, they can't show titties. And I remember like staying up until 2 a.m. to see, what was it? Maybe it was like, I remember like feeling really pissed, like that I got ripped off.
Like I tuned into Snow Bunnies 3 and you edited out the boobs.
I watched
Are you kidding
American
me?
Pie Presents The Naked Mile.
Yeah,
It was so funny, like the spin-offs of those where like Eugene Levy's still in it, but he's no one's dad. He's just like a neighborhood man who speaks to you about sex.
Hey, are you kids fucking?
It's just like on like a car.
Popping his head in the sorority. I hope you're getting pussy in here.
Okay.
There used to be such a premium on titties, though. You're right. Like I remember going through the family's
There was a
DVDs,
premium on titties.
Yeah.
just trying to guess what had nudity in it.
I feel like Pornhub and all those sort of things really gobbled up the market share of like Girls Gone Wild previews and like horrible gigantic files of JPEGs that were downloaded off of Kazaa that your friend would show you.
Well, I remember literally using up all the color in my dad's printer to print out not even pornographic pictures. The girls were just like wearing like low cut tops. And then I would like hang on to these pieces of paper for like 8 months. I would fold them like 8 ways.
And they feel like fabric by the end. They're just so soft.
Yeah, and so I hid them. I would hide it under my pillow. And my mom never knocked. And one day she like came in on me, jacking off to this like 8 folded girl. And she immediately shut the door. But I know that she had to be like, was my son jacking off to a treasure map? Like, what the fuck?
Was the photo of like Cindy Margolis, like that she claimed to be the most downloaded woman on the internet in like the early 2000s?
It's just a fried to hell JPEG of like a Playboy cover.
It was like a selfie from MySpace. It wasn't even somebody famous.
And now she's on the show. Comes out. When I was young, I had a computer, and it started really acting up, and they'd be like, "Go do your homework on your computer" or whatever, and like I couldn't. Like as soon as it boot up, it would just like overheat and explode or whatever. So my dad had to take it to the repair place, and he was like, "Yeah, it was like riddled with porn, like straight up destroyed. Like it didn't just fry the hard drive, and like it fucked up the fans."
I used to fuck up the family's computers so bad. I forget. I don't know what I did to it, but somehow, like, from just like turning it on too hard, I broke the power button. And my dad's solution was like somehow he rigged it so that if you touched like two wires that were hanging out the back of it, it would turn on.
You could hotwire your computer, basically.
Yeah.
I remember
I would hotwire my car, and then I would Tokyo drift into pornography.
I remember my dad almost lost his job because of something that I did to the computer. Because it was connected to the plug that it was connected to. That plug was connected to a light switch, and if you would flick the light switch on accident, it would power surge the computer.
Mhm.
And I was lazy. I would do that to turn the computer off, especially if I had been like using it when I wasn't supposed to. And the computer would like make a noise, like it would like. And one time I did that to turn the computer off, and the computer wouldn't turn back on for like days, like a week. Like they had to get the hard drive salvaged, and I was grounded because my dad almost lost his job.
I did that. My girlfriend's internet was out, and she was over here like working from home for a week. And she's an animator, so she's like doing really important stuff. And the only power strip I had was connected to the switch. So I left the room and just turned the lights off, forgetting she was here so many times.
Yeah, it's never good. It's never good to ruin a loved one's livelihood because of a gaffe.
And Nick, I thought you were going to say like the story, like your dad almost lost his job is like one of those like sitcom tropes where it's like, hey, my boss is coming over tonight and we need to be on our best behavior. And then like the boss like walks in like, just going to take a peek at what you got on your computer. Pornography. Oldershaw, you're done.
He finds the treasure map of tits. Just like
My grandpa blew up computers until he died. It was just computer after computer, just blowing them up. And then they'd be like, can someone come over and help grandpa with his computer? It's like, someone show him. I remember joking with my cousins, someone fucking show him Pornhub. He's downloading stuff. Like, it was like, he needs to get into the streaming shit. I think he's still downloading.
Yeah, we need a nice like Reddit style whitelist for grandpa.
It's actually
Approved
interesting.
sites only.
Porn is so not dangerous anymore. It used to be you really paid a heavy price if you wanted some porn.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, all right, I'm gonna watch this porn, and it is gonna steal my dad's credit card info on the computer.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have that experience where you weren't trying to look at porn? I know, but like, say you typed in the yeah, I know. So let's just say you're in your refractory period and you're just trying to be normal for once,
Right.
but like you type in a URL wrong by like one letter, and all of a sudden it's the most porn pop-ups in the world that like infect your thing. I was trying to. There's an old skateboarder, Ed Templeton, and I tried to go to his website, like edtempleton.com, but he had let the domain lapse, and it was now a foot fetish website. And when I went to it, it was 1,000 pop-ups, like as my mother's sitting behind me, and I'm trying to frantically be like, well, I don't know what happened to this, but
yeah, the name Ed Templeton is definitely either skateboarder or pervert. That totally checks out.
Good news, he's a pervert skateboarder.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely like as a kid would accidentally like for some reason my parents had me convinced that they could like watch what I was doing on the computer from like somewhere else, like which now exists, did not then, but I believed them. So one time I was looking for like a picture for like a school project for like a PowerPoint, and whatever I was searching on like page 8, there was like a photo of titties somehow in the Google results. So I would just try to repeat that search and then masturbate to the like tiny thumbnail of this without clicking on it.
just like 150 by 270 JPEGs.
Yeah, I can make that work. But then Google like changed their algorithm and it went away, and I'm like, no. And that was like a year of no titties.
You got one of those like little jewelers things that they put over their eye, and you're like right up to the computer.
Yeah, just looking at like 5 pixels. Nice.
Do you remember the game Smash TV?
No.
Do you remember Smash? Oh, it was a Super Nintendo. Well, the people who are listening might remember. There's a Super Nintendo game, and the victory screen was this guy next, and this is like 16-bit, and it's this guy next to these like 2 girls in bikinis, just like the lowest res bikinis. Anyway, the point is,
It's like the end of Rampage.
yes, yeah. It would be like getting horny for the girl in Rampage when she's like 2 pixels big, and that's what I was doing. I busted so many nuts to like 16-bit ladies.
Just like at that point, it's like you may as well be masturbating to like the woman symbol on the bathroom door.
Hey, I just pulled up the Smash TV women that you're talking about, and you know what? I might have to pause this podcast
Right?
real bit for a second.
Yeah. They look very shiny.
Yeah, and also they're twins, baby. They are twins.
That was like, that was an early 2000s thing. Like everyone was horny for twins.
Yeah, very strange. That's really upsetting, actually.
Yeah, as a cultural moment.
That's a horrible situation to put two siblings in.
Yeah, America
Well,
watched the Super Bowl and unanimously decided to be horny for twins.
If you guys aren't going to go after pedophiles, maybe you just go after the incestuous twin, type pervs on your pod. That could be the leftist angle.
Yeah, well,
I don't really see that anymore. I think now they make everybody like show their IDs, but like they cut it out. You can see it in some videos. They're like, all right, now say your real name and state this is consensual. And then like she holds up her blurry ID and I'm like, well, this is somehow worse. Oh, nice.
Yes. What did I say, dude? Wouldn't you like to date either one of them?
Yeah, I found it. That guy's a successful guy. He's got a fucking shiny jacket, and
you go outside in that jacket, you're getting pussy.
Is this what the Hard Times podcast is usually like? By the way, I just ask.
Here's what it's normally like. Tell me about your influence on the 80s hardcore scene, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what was New York like back in 1986? Was it tough to get to shows?
And then Henry Rollins is like, oh, do you guys remember going on Playboy.com in 2003? Just watching a video of women playing volleyball.
Nick, are you making... So I had heard through your podcast that you sometimes do medical trials to get some dough in your pocket. Is this like
a lot of carrot hour, man?
is this like a fucking gold rush for you right now? Do you how many vaccines do you have in you?
So
they gave him the Captain America serum.
And this is the best that it does. But no, I actually I don't want to do the COVID trials because they don't actually pay that well is the thing. Like,
it's like $20.
Yeah, it doesn't involve any spinal tap, so it's really not as much money.
I did make the most money when I was getting my spine punctured. But,
was that the most brutal one? Like, that
one was brutal. That was actually, we tried to record the first episode of the podcast immediately, like when you get a lumbar puncture, they tap your spine like you're a maple tree, and then the hole doesn't close up immediately. So I don't know if you know.
So you're leaking syrup all day. Yes,
and not just syrup out of your back. I'll give you guys a little medical lesson. So the brain is very sensitive. I don't know if you know this.
This medical lesson about the syrup out of your back.
So your brain is encased in fluid because your skull is hard, and if your brain hits it, it hurts.
Yeah, your brain is not supposed to touch the inside of your skull at all.
The brain doesn't like to touch the inside of your skull. Believe me. And, so when they lumbar puncture your back, there's just a hole in your spine, and if you stand up, all of the fluid that's supposed to be protecting your brain just leaks out of your back into your ass and your legs. Basically, and then your brain will rest against your skull, and I can't overstate how intensely painful it is to feel your brain against bone. But after like 2 weeks, it closes up. And, you made $10,000. You're not living in your car anymore. You're back on your feet.
Did you make $10,000?
I made $10,000. Yeah.
Did you see her shoulders?
Right. Okay.
Yes, I am proud of it.
Your syrup is fucking gold, brother.
The first time we ever tried to record, it didn't work because Nick Ubered like almost directly from the hospital here and just like laid down in my bed.
I was like, it'll be fine.
Did you have him put like a trash bag down so he could leak onto the trash bag instead of your sheets?
I put down a towel.
Like, you guys are proud of like having a business. I'm proud of the time that I sold my brain fluid to medical science.
It grows back, I'm sure, I guess. I don't know.
Didn't they try to inject like blood to replace it?
Yeah, so they'll try to inject they hold on to your blood for you, which is really generous of them.
Yeah, that's nice.
Most people just throw it in the trash.
No, they hold on to it, and if your back is leaking, they're like, all right, we'll fill your back up with like a scab basically that we took from you. But it actually rarely works. So then you're just like extra gross, just like laying in Brendan's bed.
Your vision is just red. It looks like you got shot in Goldeneye.
Yeah.
So how much was the COVID stuff? And is there like a website that's like, labrat.me or whatever?
Well, I do. There's a medical trial place in California, Par Excel, that I go to. The COVID stuff, they were only, I think the trial that I saw was like less than $2,000, and I'm like, no way.
You have to get COVID?
To test the vaccine.
Yeah.
So you don't trust Johnson & Johnson? I mean,
well, when Nick told me he told me like what the company was, and I was like, maybe I'll do this. And I Googled it, and the first result was like, I guess they were doing this in Germany, and then they had to stop because a bunch of guys went blind.
Yeah. I didn't go blind.
Yeah. Oh, it was so funny, like what they make you state at the beginning.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the beginning of the porn, they had a version of that.
yeah, he has to
you
hold
have
his
to,
blurry ID up and give his real name. And
Well, they make sure.
I just really like to experiment.
I do have a boyfriend. Yes, he doesn't know about this.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? It's like someone clearly impoverished. I just love sex.
Yeah, they do make you state, and they have to hear it verbally. They're like, now, what is the worst side effect that you can experience from participating in these trials? And you're in a room full of other people who also want to be approved, like filling out the form, and you all say in unison, death. So you all have to acknowledge together that you could die.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong.
It's like you're a platoon.
Yeah.
That is horrifying to stand in a room with a bunch of people and say, we accept death.
Yeah. You
All
just
together
become
now.
the Unsullied Warriors.
But Matt, honestly, worse things have happened to me, so it's really not.
Oh man.
When
you started doing this, it was like, we're like, wow, Nick's really turning it around.
Was the spinal tap itself a painful procedure? Like, it just sounds
Intensely.
excruciating.
So they actually botched mine.
Perfect.
To tell. So they spinal tap you, and then part of the study was they were going to insert a catheter into me, and it was supposed to be a constant drip of like antipsychotic medicine that they were like giving me to test for side effects, and there were.
Give me some of that.
I like straight up like had an acid flashback. Like,
Okay,
while I was,
also
like,
sorry if people are watching the video. Fucking Brendan has a straight up trucker size big gulp. Right now.
It's an Nalgene. Look, I'm repping. The company.
he just assumed it was soda.
It's water.
Yeah, but the drugs they gave me, they were fun. They made me trip a little bit, like while I was hanging out. But when they went to insert the catheter into my back, the doctor who did it, he also seemed like he was like rushing. Like I think he
I gotta get out of here. Game starts in 5 minutes.
he literally like they put it into my back. It starts like hitting this nerve that made my legs like jump up to my chest. And I was like, and I'm like digging into the bed, like that really hurts. And he goes, all right, I got other stuff I got to do. We're just not going to do it to him. And he took it out. And I still got the money, so I guess I outsmarted them.
So what you're saying
Puss
is,
can't handle a little fucking nerve tapping. And get out of here.
okay, that's horrific. Well, at least I now know that the American economy and healthcare system is right where it should be.
Hey, it's why we're number one.
Yeah.
All right.
Isn't that also the only medical attention you've received in like 5 years?
Yeah. What the fuck happened to Bernie Sanders, man? I was really banking on that.
You're just hoping that they'll notice cancer too.
Yes.
The only time a doctor's ever touched him, they jabbed his spine until his knees jumped up, and then said, "Fuck it, I'm done with this."
I'm out.
They stabbed me in the back with a needle. And I'm like, did you feel cancer when you went in there? Do you know if it was a tumor?
Can you clean my teeth while we're doing this?
So I'm really bad at checking my mail. I lost my health care because I had like a $30 bill that I just was like in the mail and I never paid it, and they got really upset with me. And I thought I had COVID for a second, as we all did, and I went to go get tested. Found out I didn't have healthcare insurance, so they sent me to like some free clinic type place. And while they were testing me, they were like, "How are your knees? Do you have any? Would you like to get your heart monitored?" And they were trying to upsell me. And I'd read online that if you say yes to any of the stuff, you'll get a bill for like $800.
Holy
It's like, your eye's a little weird. You want me to look in there for you? And then you get like an eye examination charge.
You're naming all my ailments coincidentally.
That's so
I got fucked up knees and an eye twitch.
That's really evil, though.
Yeah.
They just like that. The fact that they act buddy, but what happened to the Hippocratic Oath? Right? Isn't that against that? I don't know.
But yeah, so it was me and a bunch of like day laborers were in this clinic, and it's like not all of them spoke English, and I was like, they're definitely fucking upcharging these dudes,
Well, there's a bad history of that, like in the health. Like I don't know if you know about like I think it happened at White Medical Center, but in Los Angeles, like when women. Sorry, this is a serious tack to get on, but it's fucked up because I get angry about this stuff. There were like a bunch of like immigrant women who were like, going into like White Medical Center and like giving birth, and they were having them sign consent forms that they didn't know what they were signing, and they were signing consent to be sterilized, like given hysterectomy, stuff like that, so that they couldn't. It's like crazy.
Insane. Yeah, it's like barbaric.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of
the 90s, like
the 80s,
way too recent.
Yeah.
Let's just say this: if you look at the immigration history of the U.S., a lot of people come from Germany. There's a lot of German ideas in the U.S.
Yeah, there are.
It didn't like a lot, like most of America like speak German as a second language till like the 40s, and they're all right, we gotta stop teaching our kids this.
Till like the 40s or 50s, there's like mostly German immigrants, and then once we whoop their ass, hell yeah, we took a bunch of their scientists who also probably didn't have the best ideas.
No.
And they're about to retire, but they're still there.
What is I was on the Bernie train too. It's like it's interesting now because like I feel like there's not even like a healthcare in sight anymore. At least he was like I'm gonna do it. Now
it's not gonna happen.
No.
Now it's like Biden being like, no, I'm absolutely not gonna do it. Like, are you crazy?
Yeah. What do you think I am? Some kind of Democrat? Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, I was all in on Bernie, but now I'm like, now I'm on Andrew Yang. It's like, just give me $1,000 a month and I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll know what to do with it.
I'll just be in debt from healthcare. At this point, they can come for it. They're not getting it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Because I was interested in Andrew Yang too, and one of the things is like nowadays they print up so much money. It's like clearly you could have given us all $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and nowadays it probably would be like the best thing to do for the economy would be to send checks directly to people instead of to like the stock market and stuff. Yeah, and so I
like everyone will immediately spend on Amazon anyway, so they'll do what they want.
Exactly.
I was really crossing my fingers for like another economic relief bill. I thought it would happen. I don't know why.
I really thought it would happen too. And buddy, let me tell you, I need it. I might have to sell that sword.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Yeah. So if you like these two gentlemen, go listen to their podcast so that they don't have to expose themselves to medical trials, sell their swords, or any other.
If you don't want Nick to get his spine damaged again, or Brendan to have to sell his sword, both equal, then you need to listen to Coward Hour.
It's kind of like a endorsement / threat. Yeah. Listen to this podcast or else.
I mean, it's like the old National Lampoon cover with the dog with the gun.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna level with you guys. Even if things do start going well, I'm still gonna do the medical studies.
You'll be like chilling in your fucking mansion and be like, $2,000? Yeah, man. Chop off my toe. I don't need it. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and also, if you do listen to the podcast and you like it, go to cowardhour.com and sign up for Coil and get our RSS feed. You can listen to a bonus episode every week.
Yeah.
$5 a month.
Secret RSS feed that gies me exclusive episodes?
Yes.
That's only unlocked with Coil membership?
Yeah.
Incredible.
I can't remember whose idea it was. I think it was ours, right?
Yeah. And
you guys came to us with that.
And let me tell you, the link has recently been fixed. So.
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
What else is going on in your guys' life? I know. I think Brendan, didn't you take like a road trip with your bae recently or something? No, wait, Nick did. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Damn, Matt. I didn't realize that you listened to this much of the podcast.
This is very flattering.
Thank you.
I like Coward Hour. The first time I heard Coward Hour, I was on a road trip myself to Las Vegas with my girlfriend Selena, and as soon as we turned it on, Brendan had done some stand up at a Hard Times party. It was hilarious, and he's got a podcast, and so I clicked on it, and then the opening song, I was like in tears laughing.
Nice.
What is this?
At this point, I've heard it so many times. I think it's a normal song. And then people they go on like in our Discord and they're like, "Hey, who made the song? I want to listen to their other songs." And I'm like, "I did, and there's no other songs."
It took me a while to realize. I was like, "Wait, I think that Brendan made that song," and then I was wondering like, did Brendan have like a previous joke rap career or something like that?
Yes, and it has all been scrubbed from the
If you guys want Brendan's career, DM me. I'll send you all the files. It's so good. It's unbelievably good.
What was your rap persona name?
Barn Dog Cart, same as my Twitter. We were called TBB Unit, which was TBB stood for Tank Bandit Boys, which was our D&D party.
Oh man!
And look, this is when I was a drinking man. So we would black out and record a song, and then in the morning we'd be like, "Oh, we made a song, nice."
so first time I heard you guys, I'm on a road trip, and it felt like in the early days of the internet, you could just stumble across things that were like these weird little subcultures and these like weird, interesting little pockets of the internet. You go to like a forum for a particular band and you'd be like, oh, the people over here talk about way different things than everyone else, right? And when I listened to your podcast, I was like, this is just like an interesting, weird culture that you guys are a part of or have developed amongst each other. And it's so different than when every day I just go to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and everyone has like the same shared culture. You guys are so freaky and weird. I loved it.
There it is.
And then I was like, you know what? I just want to I want to tell people about this thing. So that's why we wanted you guys to be part of it. I just wanted people to experience diving into this weird world. Maybe you don't like all of it. You know what I mean? But experience the dive, right?
We love a dive.
That's a huge comparing to like early, like pre-2007 internet is a huge compliment, because I think that we both really are nostalgic for
We've been so nostalgic. I miss like typing in a URL and going to a website.
Or having a toolbar with your 5 favorite websites.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like across
be like,
them.
all right, these are the 10 webcomics that I read.
Yeah, dude.
And I swear, I'll open a browser and my muscle memory just types achewood.com. And then I'm like, oh, it's been gone for 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
There was a webcomic early on called The Parking Lot is Full that I used to always look at. And now it's just like, it's basically not existent on the internet except one of those like super old websites that you're like, is this one of those websites that gives my computers viruses, like early porno sites?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things like how old people, even older, like, oh, I miss going to record stores. It's like, well, now it became, I miss going to the websites.
Yeah. E-Bombs World, when you had to download the videos, where it'd be like, firework mishap, and then you had to download it. It took like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Dude, E-Bombs
I remember
World?
like pre-YouTube, I would do like stop motion Lego movies. I remember having to figure out what an FTP client was so that I could upload a .mov file that I had compressed horribly for people to complain that they couldn't download it.
I remember it was E-Bombs World. Funny Junk was huge when I was like, 8?
I don't remember that one. Funny.
What about addictinggames.com?
Addictinggames.com.
There was a
huge.
beautiful period before my school blocked it on the school computers. Ooh boy, it was the Wild West.
And
baby.
then around the time I was 13, I started getting into Live Leak, and that was when we took another fork in the road. But,
Wait a second. Should the Federal Reserve exist?
Oh yeah, is Live Leak, have they become like an algorithm thing like YouTube, where it's like, oh, if you like this, and then they send you down on like a spiral?
yeah.
Guys, I have some absolutely brutal news. At one point in time, addicting games followed me on Twitter, and I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world because I was like, oh my god, like so much time I spent on these Flash games, and now somehow they found the idea that they should follow me on Twitter. They've since unfollowed me, apparently. I don't know what
you said.
I was like, fuck Flash games. Fucking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking kitty cannon sucks.
Holy shit, kitty cannon. Man, wow. That's potent. Seriously.
I miss like there was this one like Castle Defender game where you clicked on the stick figure and just dragged it up in the air and threw it.
Buddy,
Yeah.
it was and you could drop grenades and fucking like hurt him and stuff.
Yeah.
What the fuck was it called?
It's better than COD.
Yeah, totally. Dude, some of the shit like
Yeah.
some of the animation on Newgrounds, like games animation on Newgrounds in 2004 is so absurdly high quality and so fresh. So like I'll still go back and watch it.
Okay,
It's
I want to
really
ask
good
you guys
shit.
something.
Mhm.
Newgrounds, I think, had a section in their games that was like the sex game section.
Matt, we know it very well.
And there was this game where you had to make a girl orgasm while she's sleeping. Very rapey, but I'm 14. I don't know what's right or wrong. I'm just on the internet, right? I'm clicking around. Okay.
I would like to think that that's not something I would have had to been taught, but I don't know.
Well, there was a game I remember on Newgrounds. It was a side-scrolling beat 'em up. It was called like Disorderly or something, and you were an orderly and an old person, like a retirement home. And so like the game, like it's like Final Fight. You're beating up like janitors and stuff and other old people, and then occasionally you'll get to go to a special room, and it's like a mini game. And the mini game was like it's this naked 80-year-old woman, and you're reaching into her vagina trying to get quarters out of it, and you have to tap the arrow keys like it's DDR.
This is the culture we grew up in. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You know,
Yeah.
look, come along.
VR has kind of brought it back.
Yeah.
I briefly was into VR, and it was when I was a single man, and I downloaded this like VR strip club game off Steam, and I had it on my computer exactly long enough to nut once, and then I refunded it to Steam, and I was like, I can never have this. This will ruin my brain.
Oh my god!
In Japan, I
Strip
got
clubs are expensive. The game was $15.
I hear you.
in Japan, I got like a VR porn headset thing. It was pretty funny. And then I slept in the same room that I used it in, so it wasn't the best night. It was like one of those weird internet cafes.
Well, they have like porn for you in the hostel.
It's literally like imagine an office with really small little cubicles that are like just big enough to fit into, and then there's a computer in each one, and there's like these thin walls in between you and all these other guys, and you're all supposed to jerk off to anime.
But
There's also like a reclining type chair, and I didn't get back to the train in time to get back to my hostel, and then I didn't have cell phone service, so you can actually rent them out for the whole night. So I rented it out for the whole night, and I just slept on that chair, no blanket, no nothing, and just put my face up against this like public jerk off chair. Where I spent the night.
Haven't been able to sleep that well since.
They also like don't turn off they don't turn off the lights, and you can like hear the other guys like.
That's so sick. Like in America, the closest thing we have to that is just like a room in the back of a porn store for gay guys to fuck. But there, it's like an established business.
Dude.
Oh my fucking!
We have a
There's
website. We have a Facebook page. You come.
You can actually, there's like a library, you go and you pick out the anime you want to. They try to mix it up like, also you can just like read normal anime, like it's not hentai or whatever. It's like, yeah, but how many people are doing that? You know, like how many?
Yeah,
Right.
I love to recline in a chair in public and read anime.
And pay hourly.
Yeah, I need to go unwind in a jack off cubicle.
Was it cheaper than a hotel?
It was incredibly cheap. It was like $10 or something.
Oh man, Nick,
Honestly,
if you ever wind up back in your car, this might be an option.
I'll tell you, we need to bring these over here just so we can get like homeless people out of the libraries here, because this is what they want. This is 100% what they want.
It's kind of like a jerk off library. You're not supposed to make any noise, which is horrific too.
Well, that's
Well, that's not going to work for me because
people have their headsets on. and their VR headsets on, and there's like 40 guys jerking off in this room, but you're supposed to remain deathly quiet, so you're trying to like not make the chair squeak and stuff. It's nuts.
Yeah, because it would be impolite to make noise.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck, dude! That's
How do you handle cleanup? Like, do you come and then ring a bell and a little guy comes out of a
Oh wait,
service
you
door?
you can order food. You can order like slushies. So there's also like a toaster oven and one dude who will be like, hey man, can I get like a grilled cheese?
It's
like he had grease all over that.
There's a dude going who's like, he's like, I swear to God, I just like the sandwiches. That's the only, you can't get them anywhere else.
That would be really funny if it was like a great kitchen.
Yeah, this food is really top notch.
When I was living in San Francisco, there was one of those weird news stories that popped up that I saw in the paper, and I just found the headline, and it's "Man bursts into flames in San Francisco porn shop," and it was a guy who was in a private booth in a porn shop who just erupted into flames and was fighting for his life. I remember seeing the video footage on television of him running out of the porn shop fully doused in flames, and they don't know what caused
Some
it.
serious friction.
Oh, he had to be smoking crack. That had to be a Richard Pryor.
Yeah, or is it like that? Is it like spontaneous combustion? Like I guess can happen.
Maybe it was friction. He was jerking off so hard it was like two sticks together.
But he's getting both of his arms in there. He's like rubbing his whole body.
It was him and another guy rubbing their dicks together. Like they were.
There's no follow-up story to say if he died or not, but let's just assume he made a full recovery and is now thriving.
So no follow-up story. Started briefly, like casually seeing a woman like 5 years ago. She seems all right, cool, no problem, blah blah blah. I tell her I'm a journalist, and she kind of like bristles. You know, I'm like, that's weird, whatever. Because
you're a fake news proprietor, and
I tell her I work at SF
You made
Weekly.
up COVID to hurt the president.
Of course.
Did, Matt.
This is like before the world was like that. You know, this is like 5 years ago. People were like, anyways. We're hanging out, and she says something. I go, oh yeah, my friend Chris. I used to work with him at SF Weekly, and he said something about that. And she goes, Chris? I go, yeah, Chris Roberts? Yeah, that's my friend. Yeah, he's a colleague of mine. She goes, oh. He's just really quiet. I go, okay. You're like, do you have something to say? And she's like, Chris Roberts wrote a really negative story about me once. Are you a notable person? Why were you in the news, right?
Oh,
Apparently,
it sucks when you find out your girlfriend has articles.
Oh, by the way, she was one of those women who had like the fake name. She's like, call me Cinderella or whatever.
Oh.
It's like clearly not your, born name.
Yeah.
And so of course I Google this afterwards. Well, actually, she preps me a little bit. She said, I was accused of something I didn't do, and they wrote a news story about it. And then it kind of went viral. And I said, what did they accuse you of doing? And she said, they accused me of throwing a dog out of a second-story window.
What the fuck?
But
it was a 4-story window. This was terrible journalism.
I love, like, she said negative story, like the newspaper came out, and she's like, all right, let's see how it is.
Yeah. This is a real hit piece about me throwing that dog out the window.
Why did I get that interview? God damn it. Yeah. And she says something like, well, I was dating a guy, and he was black, and the neighbors were racist, and they never liked him. And we were having a fight, and we were fighting, but we were downstairs, and somehow the dog just fell out the second-story window.
Happens all the time. Ask
Like
Eric Clapton.
And the neighbors said that they saw a white hand push or throw the dog out the window. And they didn't like, maybe the neighbors were racist, and they didn't like that it was an interracial couple, was her theory, and that they were trying to break them up. So they called the cops. Everyone's against her. They called the cops. And she eventually got written up as being arrested for animal abuse. Eventually, like the charges either got dropped or just never really pursued. But there's like
She settled with the dog out of court.
There's like 15 plus articles with like her name, her mugshot of like throwing a dog out of a window.
Whoa. People hate when you throw a dog. That's so much coverage, dude.
They get really rowdy. And so we were casually dating, and we got into a little bit of a tussle.
So you hid your dog?
And she started yelling, and then she went to leave because I'm like, whatever, get out of my house or something. And then she starts to leave, and my dog starts running and chasing after her.
No.
And, like, because, dogs sometimes get freaked out when you're in a fight. And I was like, no, Kelly, please come back, please come back. I was like, hella worried. I was like, it triggered in my brain. I was like, for what it's worth, she was always nice to my dog. So fake news, fucking.
Wouldn't you expect her to be at that point? It's awfully suspicious how nice she is.
I also want to say I live in a 1-story house, so.
Maybe so when she set up that ladder up onto the roof, you knew something was suspicious.
How hot was she that like she killed a dog and you're like, I can make this work?
It was at a particularly low point in my life, but she was attractive. She rode a motorcycle. I thought that was cool.
Huge. That's
leather jackets and stuff like that. Dyed hair. And she was like a guide at the Armory, which is like that kink.com BDSM warehouse and stuff. So she was just like a interesting person. She was nice. I don't know what she did to the dog. I don't know.
Matt's current girlfriend has only been accused of drowning a bunch of ferrets in a pillowcase.
You sound like Trump, where they're like, "Is QAnon real?" And he's like, "I don't know what it is."
Not just my current girlfriend, Bill. My current and last and only girlfriend. Right. I need to throw that in there after telling that story.
True. Good point.
I can't remember if I've ever had sex with anyone but my girlfriend. I suspect no, but it's just really hazy. I have no idea.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and certainly you could never go back and listen to 100 episodes of us speaking and find.
Yeah, it's funny. My girlfriend's been diving into the backlog, which I told her not to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason the first 50 episodes where we were just like, we had completely lost our minds. We're like, we should start a podcast. This is really good.
but I feel like if we hadn't lost our minds, we wouldn't have even had the ignition factor to like begin Coward Hour.
Yeah,
so I think it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Coward Hour is like it's a real like Jaime Lannister arc where like it starts horrible, slowly we redeem ourselves, then at the very end we're just gonna like reverse all the character development.
My wife has I've asked her like, hey, have you ever listened to anything I've done? And like she like gets like angry in the fact of like, no, and I will never. She's like, so I could say
That's
whatever I want. Yeah.
My dad got a Coil subscription now. I had way too many people listening.
My girlfriend brought up the fact that apparently like 10 podcast episodes back, I said she wasn't good at cooking.
Shit.
So she listens to everything, and
which is a comedy podcast. Where you were joking.
It's called satire, babe. That was the idea for a Hard Drives headline. Come on.
Me, the founder of Hard Times' girlfriend isn't good at cooking.
Yeah.
That's the front page.
Yeah. You wrote an article called like "Bitch Girlfriend Burns Dinner." She's like, how many likes did that even get in the group?
No, I forced it through.
It's a breaking news story.
A lot of
angry
reacts.
She's an interesting personality because she's been making me truly amazing food. Like she'll come over with like meal prepped kits of like.
It's awfully suspicious how much he's selling this.
Give me a second.
Go ahead.
She gives me like 4 or 5 meals a day. Like, look at this beautiful traditional Persian food that I made you, and like really ramping it up, like a notable increase. I'm not saying she had to ramp it up, but she's just like going for it, right?
Right.
And then I'm hanging out with her the other night, and she goes, I say something about how I'm like, man, this is so. She made me something again. It's like, this is so delicious. Like, this tastes so good. I can't believe you made this. Blah blah blah. And she goes, yeah, what did I fucking tell you? You said that on the podcast, and I had to prove you were wrong. So it was like a long arc of her just slowly proving me wrong.
Let me tell you something.
You can use this to your advantage. That's my immediate instinct.
I I really respect how much she drew out that lesson. I love that, actually. I want to do something similar.
She like 100% proved me wrong. She made me delicious food. She made everyone in my family delicious food. And she's like, Matt, can you fess up now and say that you were off about me? I'm like, yeah, okay.
Until every listener tastes some of her delicious food, then we cannot have a consensus. So I need to be given some of this delicious food. I'll take it vegan.
We'll do a quadruple date, Coward Hour and Hard Times podcast. We'll give each other COVID, maybe after COVID.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, boys. Tell people where they can find your podcast and what you guys are up to.
Yeah,
and list off some comedy dates that you're doing. 160.
Where are you touring?
I'm on 8 Zoom shows this week. Go to cowardhour.com. If you're on the fence or something for some reason, we have a link to like a best of episode.
We have 2 best of episodes.
Yeah, 2 best of episodes.
If you're skittish.
Yeah, we're on. We're everywhere that you can get podcasts, Spotify, and everything.
And if you like it, definitely please leave us a review on iTunes, because the more of those we get, the more we'll get like served to other people, like in the top whatever.
We assume. I don't really know how it works. I distrust algorithms. I have a deep distaste for algorithms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can listen to the podcast, subscribe on Coil if you like it. If you go to cowardhour.com, there's a link to like our subreddit and our Discord.
Oh yeah, the Discord's a blast. Definitely hop in there. There's a lot of Discord. Discord might be deep end of the pool. Now that I'm saying.
Yeah. Don't. I would recommend against joining the Discord to see if it wins you over to listen to the podcast.
I would maybe a couple episodes before you come into the Discord.
Once your brain is fully turned to mush, then you go to the Discord.
Yeah.
I realize now with comics, like throwing it to them at the end of a podcast to be like, hey, tell us about what you're up to. Maybe the comics should just be like a little bit more forthright and be like, well, no shows this week, so you probably expect like maybe Wednesday or Thursday I'll kick up a lot of drama on Twitter. I'm going to be calling people out. I'm going to really tell the president what's up on Thursday.
Yeah. I have some replies geared up on Hootsuite, and the very second the president tweets, they are right there under it.
Yeah, well, I will say, if anybody lives in LA and wants to come, I'm going to be at the outdoor 9:30 screening of Nightmare on Elm Street off of Hollywood with my girlfriend. So if like 10 of you guys could come and like make me look famous, that would be amazing.
just walk by and be like, whoa, that's Nick right there.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Nick's going to open for the movie. He hasn't been booked, but he's a very persuasive guy.
All right, guys. Well, great talking to you as always. Keep up the great work on the podcast. And anyone listening to this, go check out Coward Hour.